Months after my mother told me, if you walk out that door, don't bother coming back, my dad texted me about the mortgage. I stared at the message for a long time. I'm Evan, 27. Growing up, I was the reliable son. I got my first job at 16, earned scholarships, worked through college, and went straight into finance. My older brother Zach dropped out of school, lost 3 jobs, and moved back in with our parents at 30. Every time Zach failed, my parents had an explanation. He was finding himself. His bosses didn't understand him. He just needed more time. When my parents started struggling financially, I helped. At first, it was utilities and groceries. Then I started covering the mortgage. That went on for about 2 years, along with other household expenses. I told myself that was what family did. Zach, meanwhile, lived there rent-free. Most days, he played video games or sat on his phone. I never saw him contribute anything meaningful, but somehow, I was still the one being reminded that things were hard right now. Then one Sunday, after a long week at work, I stopped by with groceries. Mom was waiting in the living room with her arms crossed. Zach was on the couch. Dad stood near the kitchen, already looking disappointed in me. "We need to talk," Mom said. Dad got straight to it. "We think it's time you contribute more." More? He said the house was becoming too much for them, and that it wasn't fair for them to struggle, while I lived on my own and had a good income. "I've been covering the mortgage for 2 years." Mom waved that off. "We need more than that." I looked at Zach. He finally glanced up from his phone. "Come on, man. They've done a lot for us. It's just money." "Us?" I said. "What are you paying?" Mom immediately snapped. "Don't talk to your brother like that. He's trying his best." Dad stepped in. "The house is too much for us to handle alone. If you were a good son, you'd take responsibility." That was when I understood what this had become. My help was no longer help to them. It was an obligation. "So I'm supposed to pay even more while Zach keeps paying nothing?" "We thought you'd want to help your family," Mom said. "And Zach isn't family?" Zach sat up. "I didn't ask for this." "No," I said. "You just benefit from it." I grabbed my bag. Mom stood up. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." That day, I was too tired to argue. I just said, "Okay." Then I left. After that, I stopped paying their bills. I ignored most of the calls and texts that followed. For the first time in years, my paycheck went toward my own rent, my own expenses, and my own life instead of disappearing into a house where I was treated like a walking emergency fund. Eventually, Dad contacted me about the mortgage. His message was about the payment. I replied, "I thought I wasn't welcome." That set everything off again. Mom accused me of being cruel. Dad said the situation was serious. Zach asked if I was really going to let our parents lose the house just to prove a point. For a moment, I felt the old guilt. Then I remembered standing in that living room with groceries in my hands, while 3 adults explained why I should do even more. I texted back, "Not my problem." Mom called almost immediately. She was already angry when I answered. "How can you abandon your family when you know we need you? You told me not to come back." "That's not the point." "It kind of is." She started talking about how much the house meant to them, and how I had always been the responsible one. "So because I'm responsible, I'm supposed to keep paying?" "You're being dramatic," she said. "Zach isn't built for that kind of responsibility." I almost laughed. "Then maybe he should start taking some." Dad took the phone from her. His voice was calmer. "We just need support until we figure things out." "Then figure things out," I said. "Cut expenses. Ask Zach to contribute. Do something besides assuming I'll keep covering it." His tone changed. "Enough. We're your parents. You will help us." That was the clearest they had ever made it. They didn't see my money as something I chose to give. They saw it as something they were entitled to. "No," I said. Dad went quiet. Then his voice softened. He admitted they had taken me for granted. He apologized and asked me not to let them lose the house. A few years earlier, I probably would have folded right there. This time, I didn't. "I'm not paying it," I said. Then I hung up. The messages kept coming. Mom said I would regret it. Zach said I was destroying the family. Dad kept asking me to reconsider. I sent one last reply. "I'm done paying your bills. You'll have to figure this out yourselves." Then I turned off my phone.